gentlemen, and welcome to another video. I am doing wide receiver rankings from 15 to my #1 rated prospect in 2022. As always, I do this in half-point PPR. Before we get into it, if you guys are new to the channel, if you haven't done it yet, if you enjoyed content from me in the past, I would greatly appreciate a like and subscribe. It helps me out so very much, and I appreciate it greatly. With that out of the way, let's get into wide receiver rankings. We are going to go from 15 to 1, and to start it off, I have Diontae Johnson, who is one of the more underrated rising stars in the league. Johnson absolutely thrived last season with a less than ideal quarterback situation in Pittsburgh and an absolutely horrid offensive line. There is no doubt that the massive target share helped, but you cannot blame Big Ben for throwing Deontay's way often, especially with the talent that he possesses. And besides, there was nobody else in Pittsburgh that was healthy to throw the ball to. That does change a bit with the Steelers drafting George Pickens in the 2nd round and the presumed return of a healthy Chase Claypool, but it is not enough for me to drop Johnson out of my top 15. I know there are concerns with the quarterback situation, but whether it is Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett calling the shots, they are going to be a lot closer to Ben Roethlisberger and what he was last year than Steelers fans may want to admit. The offensive line should be better. Najee Harris is a year older, and with the added attention in the wide receiver room, Johnson is going to have more opportunities where he is not the only threat catching passes. Johnson has steadily improved over his first 3 years of his career, and I believe he makes it 4 straight in 2022. My 14th ranked player is Michael Pittman Jr., and he basically came out of nowhere last year after struggling in his rookie season. The jump in his sophomore season leads me to believe that he is only now getting started after finally figuring it out. Doubling your yardage from your rookie year and going from a single score to 6 tutties is something else, especially with Carson Wentz and a ragtag group of wideouts to help you out. Now, Matt Ryan comes to town, and even though he is on the back 9 of his career, he is a step up from the inconsistency that we saw at the position last season. Pittman still has the best back in the game for defenses to have to worry about, and he got some help in the wide receiver room with Alec Pierce coming in as the 53rd overall pick. As the clear-cut alpha, I expect Ryan to hone in on him often, and 150 targets is not out of the question for Pittman. And if he sees that type of volume, he could challenge the top 10. My lucky number 13 is DJ Moore, who gets a slight boost with the Panthers making a move to acquire Baker Mayfield. It is a pretty massive step up from Sam Darnold, and it will certainly help DJ put up better numbers than he did last year. If we got to see Moore with an elite quarterback option, he could possibly crack the top 10. Now, Matt Corral could be the savior, but it is not likely that's going to happen in year 1. So the bridge that Baker has built is going to have to do. We settle for the unreal talent and the massive target share of one of the most underrated players both in real life and fantasy football. Moore saw the 6th most targets in the league in 2021, and that should once again be the case for a Panthers team that is desperate for playmakers. With the hopeful, healthy return of CMC and a revamped offensive line, Carolina's offense should look much better this year and help open up the field for more. The yardage is going to be there. It always has been. He has not gone under 1,150 yards since his rookie season, but the visits to pay dirt should increase as well. Up next, it's A.J. Brown at number 12, and I can't lie, I think it's pretty telling that the Titans were willing to part with Brown. The dual knee surgery concerns me, and it seems like it worried Tennessee as well. The move to Jalen Hurts is also a question mark, as he struggled with accuracy a lot last year. So there is clear risk in taking Brown in 2022. However, Brown has missed just 7 games in 3 years, so it is not exactly like he is injury prone. Ryan Tannehill was not exactly slinging it around the field either, and if he is back to 100% at the start of the year, he is likely going to crush this ranking. It is just a bigger if than I am comfortable with for a potential top 10 player at the position. The positives for Brown are obvious. he can win you your week with 1 or 2 big plays as one of the best players in the league in yards after the catch. He put up over 130 yards 3 times in 2021, and he scored in each of those contests. And he did that in just 13 games played, so there is no denying the talent. Just know what you are getting into with Brown and roll the dice if you are brave enough. A hit means a big producer who is going to soar over 1,000 yards and threaten double-digit scores. Keenan Allen is in at 11, and there are few players as consistent or dependable as him. Over the last 5 years, he's put up ridiculous averages of 1,183 yards and nearly 6.5 scores per year. He's dropped under 1,000 yards just once in that time frame, and that was back in 2020 when he only played 14 games. In every one of those seasons, he has also scored at least 6 touchdowns. This is all just a long way of saying that you know what you get when you're drafting Allen. The Los Angeles Chargers boast one of the best playmaker groups in the league, and their offense is going to light up the scoreboard. Keenan Allen is once again going to be a big part of that, and it makes him an easy buy. The upside may not be as high as you'd like for a wide receiver in this range, and Allen is not what I would consider a sexy pick, but he is as safe and as reliable as they come, and he has plenty of value here for me. Arriving at my top 10, I start with Tee Higgins, and there is a lot to love about Higgins after another solid season from him. Even after he battled injuries early on in 2021, T was able to finish with a strong year, and he racked up nearly 1,100 yards and one of the most high-powered offenses in the league. He is now just 1 yard shy of 2,000 for his career, and he scored 6 touchdowns in each of his first 2 seasons. You love to see the consistency as well as the improvement, and I have a feeling that there is more to come based on his final 6 games of the regular season. Higgins had games of 114 yards twice, 138 and 194 yards in that span, and he scored 4 times. Then the playoffs came, and T surpassed 95 yards in 3 of those 4 games en route to a Super Bowl appearance. He clearly found something with Joe Burrow, and I anticipate that that carries on into 2022. At 6'4", with incredible body control and leaping ability, Higgins is the most reliable target that the Bengals have in the red zone. They are going to score a ton, and there is a chance that Higgins gets double-digit tutties because of it. Tyreek Hill is in at number 9, and it is going to be unfamiliar territory for Hill this year. After 6 seasons in Kansas City, Miami broke the bank after selling their soul to acquire the Cheetah. It was a risky move both for the team and the player, but I like Hill's chances at remaining a top 10 option at the position. It is a definite downgrade at quarterback, but Hill's unique blend of speed and elusiveness is adaptable to almost any offense. The big plays over the top were not there much in 2021 as they had been for most of his career, and Hill seemed to do just fine. He can again in 2022 with Tua at the controls and an upgraded offensive line. The Dolphins' running game is more quantity than quality, so Miami may have to go to the air more often than they would like this season. This is good news for Tyreek, and I expect a hefty target share to be the result. With it, he will continue to terrorize defenses. As we move on to number 8, it is CeeDee Lamb, and I cannot wait for the incoming explosion from Lamb this year. It is inevitable. With no Amari Cooper, Lamb is going to get all the work that he can handle after failing to eclipse 120 targets in each of his first 2 seasons. It is not out of the question that Lamb surpasses 150 targets in 2022. In the 4 games that he had 10+ targets last year, Lamb averaged over 100 yards per game, and he scored 3 times. So if he gets that type of volume consistently in a Dallas offense that ranked number 1 in scoring last year, and they put up 31 points a game plus, watch out. The added opportunities are going to mean massive production, and Lamb will finally cement himself in the upper echelon of the league's best. In at number 7, it is Deebo Samuel, and the do-it-all running back, wide receiver hybrid, maybe doing it a little bit less this year, but he is still a great option among the elite. He burst onto the scene as one of the best playmakers that we have seen in a very long time, and Deebo put together his first fully healthy season while showing his capabilities. Whether he's getting the ball through the air or in the backfield, few are more dangerous with the rock, especially with a little daylight. I believe that the concerns about the quarterback situation are overblown, and whoever ends up being the signal caller is going to be able to help Samuel thrive. The 49ers are going to continue to feed Deebo the ball, and as one of the NFL's most efficient players with it, the numbers will come. He takes a step back from last year only because the workload is something that he spoke against in the offseason, and some touchdown regression is likely. Moving on to number 6, and it is Mike Evans. There is reason to believe that this is too low for Evans, as he could easily crack the top 3. But that all depends on Chris Godwin, when he returns, and what his health looks like when he does. Early on in the year, I expect Evans to absolutely dominate targets in one of the most pass-happy offenses in the league. He could be the running away wide receiver 1 for the first third of the season. We know the connection that Evans has with Tom Brady is special, and with no other elite options to throw to, Evans is gonna eat. It could slow down as the season wears on, making Evans a potentially good sell high candidate, but I also would not be surprised if the early connection carries deeper into the year. The Bucs are once again going to be one of the best passing offenses in the league, and I will take a proven 8 straight 1,000-yard receiver with the best quarterback of all time throwing him the ball on my squad any day. Big Mike is the safest wide receiver pick in 2022, and he provides incredible upside on top of it. In at number 5 is Davante Adams. The move to Las Vegas for Adams should be pretty smooth, even if he is leaving a 2-time MVP. Having dominated at Fresno State for 2 years with Derek Carr, the connection will not take long to develop. Adams still has the most talent at the position in the league, but the gap is certainly closing. I question his targets a little bit, with plenty of weapons in the Raiders' passing attack, but you do not give up what Vegas did and then stop feeding the guy the ball. With Hunter Renfrow coming into his own and Darren Waller's healthy return, defenses are going to have too much to have to account for. That means giant opportunities await Adams in an offense that is going to threaten top 5 numbers. He is not the locked number 1 wide receiver that he was going into drafts last year, but do not be surprised if he threatens to reclaim his title. Stefon Diggs is in at 4, and I am all in on him this season after a slightly disappointing 2021. Already the most targeted player over the last 2 years, Diggs could see even more work after both Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders left town. With just Gabriel Davis to siphon work, Josh Allen will be looking to his stud wideout often, and I anticipate Doug's flirting with career highs across the board. Buffalo will be on a revenge tour after the way last season ended, and I would not want to be one of the people standing in their way. That extra chip on their shoulder should lead to plenty of high-scoring games with Diggs at the center of it all. We have made it to my top 3, and it starts with Marr Chase. Now, it may be hard for him to one-up himself after a monster 2021 campaign, but the talent shows that Chase is just getting started. The size, speed, ball skills, hands, and body control that he possesses are an unbelievable combination. Another year developing the rapport with Joe Burrow means one more step forward, and the Bengals will be hard to stop offensively this year with Tee Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Joe Mixon all needing defensive attention. I believe that Marr Chase pulls a Justin Jefferson and elevates after a rookie season for the ages. Chase and Higgins become the first duo to put up top 10 numbers at wideout on the same team since the Broncos had Wes Welker and Demaryius Thomas do it in 2013. To 2, and it is Justin Jefferson. With over 3,000 yards and 17 touchdowns in his first 2 years, is it possible for Jefferson to be even better in 2022? With an ascending offensive line and a new age head coach, I believe that it is. No longer bound to the tyranny of Mike Zimmer or the futility of Clint Kubiak, the Vikings offense is going to look much different and better this year. I expect a much more wide open attack, and Jefferson can win his matchup in any situation. Adam Thielen is still around to threaten secondaries, and with Dalvin Cook in the backfield, the Vikings offense is going to hum. Their floor is top 10. Jet will once again be one of the 5 most heavily targeted wide receivers in the league, and he could break more records we didn't see coming. If you haven't guessed it by now, my number 1 receiver is Cooper Kupp, who not only earned a massive payday, but he has earned this top spot, and I cannot imagine anyone else arguing otherwise. After seeing 22 more targets than the #2 player in the league, the volume here is just the beginning. If Kupp and Stafford can light it up in the first year of a brand new offense, then what is possible in year 2? Kupp is basically unguardable and is one of the smartest players regardless of position in the NFL. He will use his body as well as his brain to pick apart a defense, play after play, and rack up numbers that once again will carry you to a championship. Look out, Megatron. My little Cooper Kupp has unfinished business in 2022, and he is the best wide receiver available. And that is all she wrote for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed the content. Let me know down below what you thought about these rankings. I do this for you guys, and I love the engagement. As always, I would greatly appreciate a like and subscribe. It helps me out so very much, and it enables me to do what I love so I can keep bringing you guys the content that you love. This is Relentless Press. I am your host, Abriam Opats, and we will see you next time.